Hello, this is Barbara Guglielmo from WellSky. This video that you will be watching will be reviewing the incident management workflow for nursing homes. The incident workflow begins in SIMS with the discovery of a reportable incident. Starting on page 16 of your training guide, we will be using the nursing home provider role. The first step is logging into SIMS. When logging into SIMS, you will see your name in the top of the page and your default role. To add an incident, you will navigate to the Providers chapter. If you work for one provider, that provider record will automatically display, such as the case here on the screen. If you work for multiple providers, you will see a list view grid that will display the multiple providers, and you will need to make a selection. You will then click on File, Add Incidents, and the Incident Details page will display. This page is broken out into three sections. First is the Event Information section, followed by the Facility Details, and lastly, the Decision section. All pages in SIMS should be completed from top to bottom. In any field where there is a red asterisk needs to be completed. These fields are required, and you will not be able to save and navigate away from the page unless all required fields have an entered value. So starting with the report method, we will select a value from the drop-down. Then we will move on to the incident occurred date, where you can use the date ellipsis to select your date. For the incident occurred time, you will select from the drop-down menus. And then we will complete the incident discovered and incident discovered time. You will enter details of the incident in the incident description text box. For referrals, you will be indicating the values in this multi-select box. And the way this works is you will make a selection in the left box, and you can pick multiple values by holding your control key on your keyboard and clicking on the values and then clicking on the arrow facing the right. If you need to reset, you can click on the values in the right box and then click on the arrow facing the left and start over. The fields in the facility details page are read-only, so you don't need to make any entries here. In the decision section, the disposition and status fields are set to pending, and you will leave those as they are for right now. The last field is a law enforcement parish field, where you will place your cursor in the text box and a value will appear, and you will make that selection and it will populate. Once all the necessary information has been captured on this page, you will scroll back up to the top and select Save Incident from the File menu. Saving the incident record will expose subpages that will help you to complete the incident record. Those subpages include the Victim subpage, the Accused Witnesses subpage, Notes, and Disposition History subpages. The next step will be adding a victim. You will do that by clicking on the victim subpage and then clicking on Add Participant and selecting Victim Participant. This will navigate you to the Victim Details page. At this time, you need to search the SIMS database for the individual's record, and that is done by clicking on Tools, Search for Person. The People search window will display. You have two options. You can either use the top search box. Entering a value in this box will search for that value in different fields such as first name, last name, address fields. If you want to be more specific in your query, you can use this filter query where you can select from a number of fields and enter a value. So I will select last name, and when I do that, I'll click on the green plus sign and I will enter the victim's last name. If I want to add an additional field filter, I'll click on the drop-down arrow, make my selection, click on the green plus sign, and enter the first name. Once I'm done building my query, I'll click on Search, and any search results will display in this grid. If Wendy Wilson was to have a people record in SIMS, her name would display here, and you can check the demographic information associated in that people record to make sure that's the right person and associate that record to your incident. If the person does not have a people record in SIMS, as you can see here, no records will display in this list view grid. So at this time, you'll click on File, Close People Search. It will bring you back to the victim details page where you will enter that victim's information manually. You can see when you enter the date of birth, it will calculate the age of the victim. There are also required fields on this page. For the Social Security number, you do not need to type in the dashes. Those are automatically entered. Once all the information has been captured on this details page, you will select Save and Close Victim from the File menu. The next step is clicking on the Accused Witnesses subpage. This is where you will be completing the Health Standards Incident Report, which captures information on the incident category, the accused, and witnesses. On this page, you will click on File and select Add Accused Witnesses. From where it says Please select Type, you will click on the drop-down and select Health Standards, Accused, and Witnesses. The form will display on the page. The first thing you need to do is identify the alleged victim. And then you will be asked if this incident is an injury of unknown origin. If this incident is an injury of unknown origin, you will say yes. And then 2 additional questions will display that need to be completed. The first one is, has a determination been made for an injury of unknown origin? If it has, you will select yes, and you will need to enter the allegation finding. At this time, you would then select File, Save, and Closed Accused Witnesses. If the incident is not an injury of unknown origin, then you will indicate No, and you will need to complete the rest of the report. We will now be entering information on the accused. The first question is the accused unknown? If so, you would say yes, and then 4 questions would need to be answered about that unknown accused, beginning with the unknown accused relationship to the victim, and then the allegation, and then whether or not a determination has been made for this unknown allegation. If there is another allegation for this unknown accused, you would check the box and you would need to enter the second allegation and the determination. If there is an additional accused, you would check the box for Add Accused Number 2. You would then be asked if the accused is unknown or known. If the accused is known, you would say no. And then you need to answer a series of fields that are required. For the city, state, and zip code, you will enter values and then the system will confirm your selection. The phone number field is also configured to automatically enter the parentheses around the area code and the dash. You will then enter the allegations for the second accused. As well as any protective actions for accused number 2. And lastly, for that accused, you also have a text box where you can enter previous incidents for this accused. If there is a third accused, you will check the box and again answer questions on whether the accused is unknown or known. The last section captures information on the witnesses, and you can enter up to 2 witnesses. Once you've completed all the information on the health standards incident report, you'll scroll back up to the top of the page where you will select Save and Closed Accused Witnesses from the File menu. The next step is entering the investigation findings. You'll click on the Notes subpage and select Add Note from the File menu. The Note Details page will display, where you will first identify the alleged victim, and then for the note type you will select Investigation Findings. You'll enter your findings in the note text box, and if you need to add an attachment, you can click on the Add Attachment link. A new window will open, allowing you to browse your computer for the file. Once you've located that file, you will click Upload. This window will close, and that document will display under the document header. Once the note is completed, you will change the status from draft to complete, and then select Save and Close Note from the File menu. We'll now click on the Incident subpage, and you will scroll down to the Decision section on the Incident Details page and change the disposition from Pending to Incident Closed, and change the status from Pending to Complete. Please note that when you change the status to Complete, the system will check the incident record to ensure all information has been recorded. If there is missing information, a message will appear alerting the user of the missing information and will not allow the user to save the incident record. Changing the status to complete will also render the incident record read-only or non-editable. If any changes do have to be made by the provider worker, they will need to contact the nursing home program manager or the health standards administrator to open the record. This time, you'll click on File and select Save and Close Incident. Health standards will be regularly monitoring SIMS for new and active incident records. Accessing records can be done by navigating to the